Welcome to the Storage Hustle. I'm George, this is Jamie, and we're going to tell you how we somehow managed to turn containers into cash flow.
This podcast is for any of you out there that have always wanted to get into self-storage, but haven't yet taken the first steps.
People just need storage, and it's actually kind of blown my mind a little bit to how much storage people need and how important it is.
What's the number one thing that you get told on a viewing? Easy. Going to inspire people to take that first step, because that's what we did. The Idiot's Guide to Self-Storage.
An Idiot's Guide to Self-Storage.
So this first episode is going to be about how we stumbled into self-storage, what we did wrong a lot, what we did right a little bit, and how we found out that it's actually a pretty good business idea. People often say to us, that's so random.
So random.
How did you get into it?
And then I'm sat there being like really excited about it, and they're looking at me like, what are you on about?
Yeah.
I don't find this exciting at all.
Storage. They're like, storage.
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
Exactly that.
Tell the story. How did we get into self-storage?
So how did it kind of really start? We had another client in another world, or another company, another business that we run. We were sourcing some hospitality equipment for them, weren't we? And I remember we found a restaurant that we wanted to take all of it. Mm-hmm. And we thought, where are we going to put this? We thought, oh no, Big Yellow. Easy, we'll just put it in a Big Yellow. Mm-hmm. Then you then looked at the prices and you're like, George, we can't do that.
It was like $1,000 a month.
Yeah, nuts.
Yeah.
And then you came up with the container idea, right?
Yeah, I knew it was a thing. I knew container storage was a thing. I'd never really thought about it.
Yeah.
But maybe a couple of years back, someone mentioned container storage is a thing. It's
yeah, I had no idea. No idea it was a thing.
So then we started looking for container storage sites somewhere between where we're based in Brighton and London, because that's where the client was based, right? That's where the project was. So somewhere along the M23. So we found somewhere along that line, along the M23, inquired, and the price was like, what, a third, a quarter?
It was crazy. It was like 200 quid a month, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like 200 quid a month.
No brainer. We had it all in the van. He was like, yeah, cool, come by now if you want. I'll give you one right now. We thought, hang on a minute, this is mad.
And you can drive straight up to it.
Yeah.
Because we had a Luton, we hired a Luton, so you can back the Luton straight up to it for 200 quid a month. No, he changed it at the last minute as well, 225, because he knew we were turning up that day. It was 200 in the morning. He knew that we wanted it desperately that day, so we put the price up to 225. We were like, yeah, fine, whatever.
We should do that. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, we should do that, yeah.
We were stood there. We'd unloaded, didn't we? Could have put it all in. We were like, pizza ovens, the lot.
Yeah.
Everything was in there. Locked the door. And I remember we were both stood there and we were looking around thinking, right, 200, 225 quid. And we're going, that's one container, two container, three container, four container, five container, six. We've got up to like, 20 odd. And then a big lorry comes in, plonks down another two. And I remember we looked at each other like,
there's something going on here.
We'll do the maths quick, calculator out, do the maths.
Yeah.
Hang on a minute.
Yeah.
And there's no one else here, there's no staff. It's just this guy.
Yeah.
He's then driven off, left us there.
Yeah.
Unreal.
That was like the light bulb moment, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was like, this is something worth looking into.
100%.
At that point.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I guess. What did we do after that? Because obviously as we were offloading this equipment, you went back a couple of times to load some of that kit into the van and take it off. And every time you went there, the guy was unloading more containers.
More containers.
So by the time that we had left, because we were there for like, 3 months? By the time that we had left, he'd added like 10 more containers on. So there's like 30 containers in this site, maybe 40.
Yeah.
30, 40 containers.
I think that's another good point to say. Like, we knew that it was just going to be a very short-term period. And he was just like, that's fine, whatever you want.
It was flexible.
So flexible.
It was easy.
Yeah.
Like if you go to like a Big Yellow or a Storage Mart, you've got to sit down, you've got to do contracts,
100%.
you've got to get insurance, you've got to go through the whole rigmarole. Whereas with that, it was just like, oh yeah, sign this.
Yeah, I think I remember.
Give us some money and then here's a padlock.
I missed one of the payments and I was so scared, but he was super chilled about it. Actually, it was really annoying that it was where it was.
Yeah.
We thought we were being clever by having it not for out of London. But then I had to drive there nearly every other day to sell the stuff.
Yeah,
and it was really annoying.
Yeah, it was well annoying.
Yeah.
But that was more. But there wasn't anything nearer to us.
Not that we knew of.
Not that we knew of.
I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah, that's the thing. At that point, we literally didn't know anything about it.
No.
We hadn't even. we hadn't even really thought that we were going to try and take steps to open a storage business. We were literally just like, this is a good business.
But then when we did take those steps and we thought, right, we can do this. This is easy, right? Surely it's just what are the fundamentals here? Bit of land, couple shipping containers, bit of security. That's it, right? Sure, that's what we thought.
Yeah, that's what we thought at the time. But like fundamentally, that's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's it, isn't it? It's like, a bit of land, make sure it's secure, some containers.
Happy days.
Off you go.
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah.
And that was, I think, one of the things that really interested us because it was such a low barrier to entry where we were like, in terms of money that gets put up to start is not really that massive when you consider it and look at it to other business opportunities, right?
Yeah. Like you don't have to buy a whole building. You don't have to build anything. You don't have to obviously, we work in catering fit outs.
Yeah.
There's no bespoke stainless steel. There's no equipment sourcing. There's no builders. There's no tilers. There's no none of that stuff.
But that's also why we loved it.
Yeah.
Because you didn't have to deal with all those other people. No offense to those other people, or maybe all offense to those other people.
Heck 'em.
But you didn't need to worry about all of that and then the day-to-day running of it and having staff to look after and whatnot.
Well, there was definitely an element when we started thinking about it more. When I remember me and you had a conversation and we were like, do we want to, it was a question of what can we come up with? What business can we come up with that doesn't involve people?
Or what other word did you call him?
What other word did I call it?
Can't say the other word, actually.
No.
No, people, let's stick with people.
People.
Yeah.
What can we do? Because the thing is, about hospitality, right, is that the people are the greatest and the worst thing about it.
Yeah.
You work with some amazing people in hospitality, but they can really mess things up as well. Because there's moving parts. As soon as you put people into the mix, there's moving parts. There's more variables. There's more to go wrong.
Yeah.
So we're like, what can we do? What business can we start that doesn't involve people? And this is where it all started to line up.
Yeah.
Is like when we discovered container self-storage was a thing.
Yeah.
We'd done some quick maths on how much money this guy was making at that site on the M23, coupled with the fact that we'd already sat down and had conversations about what can we think of that doesn't involve people? And then it kind of all of that information just kind of came to a head.
Yeah, so you ticked nearly every box that we wanted to tick without even really realising it at the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's that was like, I guess the spark. That was the spark where we were like, maybe let's look for some land.
Maybe you might as well.
That was like the logical next step, right?
Yeah.
It was like look for some land, and then it kind of went from there. That's how we kind of stumbled into self-storage. That's kind of what happened. It was a bit of a balance. We kind of stumbled into it, but we purposely were looking to start a business that didn't involve people.
Exactly that.
Too many people. I still like people, by the way. I don't hate people.
We like people that store stuff with storage bros.
Yeah, exactly. We like people that have got a lot of stuff and they don't have enough space. No, we're like, well, I guess once we got to that point where we were like, this is an idea. This might be something that we can pursue. We did look into the business of self-storage. Is it a business? Like, is the site that we saw and where we stored our catering kit, is that just a one-off? Turns out it's not.
No.
There's a lot of them.
There is a lot of them.
And it's a really good business.
Yeah.
And like, there's not a lot in the sense that it's saturated. But obviously, once you start researching into something, you realise, no, there's other people that are doing this. It's kind of a community of people. Quickly identified, it is a good business for that literal reason. Because what you're doing is you're taking round numbers for now, but in essence, you're taking a £2,000 shipping container and you're turning it into a Cashflow producing. You're taking a £2,000 shipping container and you're taking it into something that generates £200 a month. Yeah. Which is, from an investment point of view, wild.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, it's nuts.
But then I guess...
But where else would you get that return?
No, you absolutely wouldn't. And we've done you've run the numbers a million times because that's just what you do, and I love it. But also we kind of look at it on like a personal level. What does storage do for other people that are maybe struggling for it? We recognised very quickly that all these flats and houses that are going up, me included, bought one last year, have zero storage. Mm-hmm. And I remember having a chat with my wife about it, and she was like, we're absolutely not getting storage. We're not doing it. And I was like, I need to do it. I need to keep the Christmas tree. I've got to put it somewhere. And she was like, no, not doing it. And at the time, it was like big yellow, a couple £100. I was like, well, I can't afford that. Yeah. I think that's why this container business that we started was so good, because the price point for what the customer's getting at that time, you know, in terms of square footage, was unreal. Yeah. Compared to what you'd get in a Big Yellow or Storage Mart, or others are available.
So it's kind of like it's doing two things. It's a good business from a cash flow point of view, but it's also solving problems. Yeah, it's really solving problems. It's solving the problem of people needing extra space within the household. Yeah, like I guess they're like our domestic customers, but we're also helping businesses to expand, because a lot of our customers are businesses, electricians, sparkies, builders that don't need a full warehouse, but they need a container. And they love the fact that they've got a lock-up and stuff like that. Like, it's definitely like a thing. So, like, you're kind of massive upside potential in terms of, like, cash flow, and you're actually solving problems.
Yeah, 100%.
It's a good business.
It's a great business.
Says us. The storage price.
We think it's a good business. But this is also part of it. Like, when we then started doing our kind of searching for who else has done it, how many of them are there some near where we're thinking of doing it, I think for me, I don't know about for you, but for me, it got to a point where I was like, oh, right, maybe it's too competitive, and like, there's one just down the road from us. We probably shouldn't do it here. But once we just took the plunge for it and we thought, no, we're just going to do it here, see what happens, you realise very quickly that the demand is there everywhere. And like I said, the houses that are being built with no storage, people just need storage. And it's actually kind of blown my mind a little bit to how much storage people need and how important it is. Because I was really worried where we looked at a few areas, and there was definitely a few other container yards. Yeah. And I thought, no, we can't do it. But it just seems to have worked. And we haven't really looked back. We've taken a lot of risk, but because we didn't really know what we were doing, but it's kind of worked. Yeah, well, it's that thing when you find something new for the first time, you then start looking into it. Well, you find something new for the first time, you're like, oh my God, a light bulb. This is great. There's a gap in the market. It's a niche. No one's doing it. And then you do a quick Google search, and you're like, oh, everyone's doing it. But then it's like an echo chamber. It's like the echo chamber effect, isn't it? Like, you're inside it, but you've now infiltrated a community where people are talking about it. It's not that it's oversaturated. It's just that you've found a community of people within the storage industry. But to back up your point, was there's also the fact that people need storage. Like, you're not really in competition with other people, because it's like a needs storage. Like, if you're a customer, you need storage, it's because you need it. We can't advertise to people and then they go, oh yeah, I need storage. Yeah. They go, I need storage, I'm going to look for it. And then as long as you're the first there, I don't know what the statistic is, but they're more likely to go with you. That's so true. How many times have we found that? Yeah, literally, because you're the first person they speak to. Yeah. Especially when they speak to you. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. They're like, sign me up. Well, what do I do? I don't do anything different to you. Yeah, but you're how do I put it? More friendly? Just a blagger. More approachable. No, not blagger, I'm not blagger. We have very, very good storage solutions here. Right? Don't use that word solutions, I hate it. Oh, sorry. What's wrong with solutions? Oh, it just sounds a bit Big Yellow, doesn't it? Sounds a bit. It does. We're referencing Big Yellow quite a bit here. Yeah, it's going to be like an advertisement for Big Yellow. We actually snuck into a Big Yellow the other day. No, Storage Mart. Yeah, we booked a tour. That was an eye-opener. Just to check that we're cheaper than everyone else. Yeah. More affordable. More approachable. That's the idea. Although the guy that showed us around was very nice. But also, that was part of it, right? Part of our journey in starting this, in this industry, was like that we're not naive. We didn't want to turn it on its head and say we're here and we're doing it completely different, because realistically, you've got a bit of land, you put some shipping containers on it, everyone's doing the same thing.
Yeah.
The containers aren't different.
We're not inventing the wheel.
No, but we wanted to put a more personal approach on it, where I think a lot of people see storage container yards where they think, well, I'm going to be met by like a geezer. And it might be
storage geezer.
A storage geezer. We often refer
Turn
ourselves.
up in like an old clapped out Range Rover or
yeah,
something.
yeah. I stopped him from buying one the other day.
I was going to buy one.
Yeah. But what was I saying? So we kind of just wanted to look at what that we could do branding wise differently. I say we, you, and just have a bit more of a friendly approach. And I think, what was the first name we went with? I say friendly now. The first name we went with?
Robo Store.
Robo's not friendly at all.
It's not very friendly. But the idea was, what was the idea? So the idea is that we, again, this plays into the what's the word? Naivety.
Yeah, that's the one.
Plays into the naivety of where we were at when we first kind of got started, is that we thought that we had come up with the idea. We had come up with the idea to run a fully automated self-storage site, like where people would get in using apps and QR codes, and there'd be no one on site. You'd get into your individual units, like using your phone and stuff like that. And we literally thought we'd invented the wheel right there and then.
Yeah, we did.
Did some research. Turns out that that's a massive thing already.
Yeah.
And there's software and hardware by multiple different suppliers that can do exactly that.
Yeah.
So we steered away from the name RoboStore, and that's where we went to. It was just us, so
yeah.
Storage Bros.
Storage Bros.
Yeah, exactly. What's the number one thing that when you're on a viewing and you're showing people around all the units, what's the number one thing that you get told on a viewing?
Easy. Great business, this. I've thought about this, doing this myself. I swear, if we had £1 for every time someone had told us that, well, we probably wouldn't need to rent out shipping containers, right?
We probably wouldn't need to.
And we would, though.
We'd be millionaires.
We would. It's fun, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
And we love it.
Yeah, that's a big thing, isn't it? And a lot of people, even like customers and even landlords sometimes, like when you've gone to see the landlord, they're like, oh yeah, I've thought about this.
I thought about doing it myself.
And it's a bit like, yeah, well, probably should have just done it yourself. Like,
and I think it's because people identify exactly how we identified it, is that it's a simple business. It's relatively simple for all the reasons that we've just outlined. You don't have to build anything. You just grab some shipping containers, put them on some land. And I think everyone has that. That's not like a revolutionary idea. Like we haven't come up with anything new. And these people that come to us and like, oh yeah, I was going to do this. They know that they're not inventing something new, but they know it's a solid business.
But here's the question then. Why do you think they didn't?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
It's a good question.
I guess it's like anything, isn't it? You're either just going to do it or you're not going to do it. I don't know.
I think having a theory and an idea is very different to actually doing it. But what me and you are quite good at is jumping into things. Like we've got a track history of
for
jumping
better
into
or
things,
for
right?
worse. Yeah.
I mean, some things work, some things don't. Whatever. But I think that's the issue. Is like the barrier then is actually doing it, because let's be honest. Like I know we've just said you buy a shipping container for £2,000 and then you rent it out for £200 a month. The return on paper as an investment, that's insane. But £2,000 is a lot of money. You multiply that by 10, it's a hell of a lot of money.
But I think that's also why we kind of wanted to start this and start talking about it, is so actually we can kind of dissect our journey and what we've done wrong and what we've done right. Because realistically, we didn't know what we were doing. We didn't
have a clue.
We've just gone, we'll do this and we'll figure it out along the way.
And we're still figuring it out.
Absolutely, and we still will for the rest of our lives, most likely.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to answer some of those questions that maybe people have asked, especially when they've said, I want to do this, but necessarily don't know how to start or don't know what to do or just didn't take the plunge.
Yeah. Because that's the thing that people ask us the most is just like things that we think are simple, but think back to when we first started, it wasn't simple. So like, where do you buy your containers from? And like, how do you find land? Do you rent the land? Do you own the land? Like, own the land, I wish. but it's that simple. Like, you just don't know. Like, and that's why people ask us that. And like, we didn't have anyone to ask.
No.
When we first started, we just figured it out.
No. We've had chats where we wanted to document our journey, right? So, and we've had chats about it. We're like, why are we Why are we documenting it? What for? You know?
Yeah, like we know it's a solid business. Like it kind of markets itself. Like we don't even really need social media.
And it wasn't,
but we do have it.
You know, it wasn't for, what's the word? To kind of make ourselves feel better about ourselves. It wasn't any of that.
Well, there
wasn't.
was no self-validation involved at all.
Was there?
I'm kidding.
No, but there wasn't really, was there? Like
No,
the validation for me is like when the container goes down, you step back and you look at it, and we give each other a little fist bump, and I'm like, that's all I need.
Yeah, when it's got a padlock on it.
Yeah. When it's got padlock on it. Yeah,
it's got
true.
padlock on it.
That is true. So yeah, I guess like we wanted to pivot ourselves in the industry where we wanted to focus a bit more on content, because we quickly realised no one's doing any kind of content whatsoever, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's all very boring. We wanted to then document our journey, and actually when people, because like you said, when a lot of people talk to us about it and they're like, why storage is boring? Actually, me and you are like, it's not boring at all. It's so fun, and this is what we get up to. So I think we just wanted to show people this is what we get up to. Yeah. And this is what we do.
Yeah. Like we're not putting ourselves forward as any kind of experts in any way, shape or form. You know, there's massive companies out there that have 10, 20 self-storage sites.
100%.
And they're probably more in a position to give solid advice. But what we're doing is we're hopefully going to inspire people to take that first step.
Yeah.
Because that's what we did.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter how long or big the task is, as long as you just take like the one step.
Yeah, so I think that's why we wanted to take it a step further from the content online to then actually sitting down and just talking about it and talking about what we do. Because I think also we've realised that within the industry, there's so much to go around. Like, realistically, we could sit here, and one episode we probably will sit here and reel off all our numbers, right? And say, this is what we made a month, this is what we've done, this is how much it cost, blah, blah, blah. Because it's not anything that we need to hide. Because there's enough space for people to do it that actually want to do it and do it well.
Almost like a guide.
Almost
like a step-by-step guide on how to open a self-storage business. Caveat, but how we did it.
So what did I Google the other day? I Googled, you know, the dummies books?
Yeah.
I Googled dummies for self-storage.
Oh, yeah, the Dummy's Guide to Self-Storage.
Doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist.
So that's what this is.
Maybe that's what this is. The Idiot's Guide to Self-Storage.
An Idiot's Guide to Self-Storage.
Who's the idiots in this story?
Well, it ain't me. Well, it might be. No, it's us. It's us. It's absolutely us.
Yeah, look, I think that's it. It's like a step-by-step guide. This is how we did it. If it helps, great. If you want to do it in a different way, crack on.
That's also it. Not necessarily.
If you do it in a different way, tell us how. You know, share it with us.
Yeah.
This is it. We worked it out along the way, and this is how we did it.
Absolutely. And now do it.
Yeah, now do it. So hopefully you found our journey into the self-storage industry relatable and interesting. Thing to remember is that literally not long ago in the grand scheme of things, where we are where you are at now, which is you've probably driven by that self-storage site that's in your local area a couple of times and you've thought, I can do that. So stay tuned for more episodes when we give you more gems on how to open a self-storage business. If you want to see a little bit more day-to-day of what we get up to, a little bit less talking, a little bit more doing, then jump over to our Instagram and TikTok at Storage Bros UK.
So we'll see you on the next one.